So welcome today to the mindfulness session. And as always, thank you for joining. And if you can, give yourself a little shout out and thank you for making time to take care of yourself. And I did want to send my apologies for last week. I know there are some of you, I joined the wrong Zoom meeting at work, so folks weren't able to participate. So I apologize for that. I've deleted that Zoom meeting so I won't log into the wrong one again. Okay, so we're going to start with a grounding practice, which I usually do each time, so we can sort of let go of where we were before, come present here, now, and helping the central nervous system calm down and be present with where you are right now. So in the past, I tend to use this grounding practice where you have one hand on the forehead and one hand on the back of the head. Today, I'm going to do the other grounding practice that I usually do, is moving the gaze slowly to the left and to the right and taking in what you see. And you can look up, you can look straight across, or you can look down. It doesn't matter what you do, but just having a slow gaze and moving your head and eyes together and noticing what you see as you're scanning the room, taking in the colors, the shapes and sizes. So let's just do that right now. I'm starting to scan to the right. I'm trying to go as slow as you can. I know depending on what you were doing before this, maybe in a sped up sort of space, but seeing if you can slow down and take in with your eyes, drink in with your eyes what you're seeing as you scan over to the right. And go as far as that's comfortable for you. Not forcing your neck to go any further. Now for me, I'm coming back to center and going off to the left side. Again, maybe saying to yourself the shapes, sizes, and colors that you're seeing as you're scanning to the left. My head doesn't go as far to the left as it does to the right, and that's okay if we have body differences. Just coming back to center. So maybe that helped a little bit to bring the focus to this session where you are right now. And I'm going to continue this week with the Strozzi Institute Embodiment practice shared by Amanda Blake. And it doesn't matter if you've been here for the previous sessions. You can participate today, no problem. We have done being present in the body and centering in the body, and then centering in what you care about. And also centering in action, so a way to move, being active in the day and becoming more present and more centered so that you can bring all of yourself and your best wisdom. So having more dignity, more connection, more of your virtue and vision for your life. So there's a relationship we've talked about previously between the body and behavior. They're tightly related. They're one unified being. They're not separate. And you've maybe noticed this depending on what mood you're in and how you're carrying yourself. So how we interpret events that are occurring around us, our habitual moods, they also show up in our body. So we're going to be keeping this information in mind as we're doing the practice today. So some of the movements we'll be doing will be standing. So if you can start standing, I'd invite you to do that. If you'd rather start seated, you can do that, and then later on you can stand up. So I don't know what your day is like, how you're feeling, so check in with yourself and see what's best for you. Don't force yourself to do something that I'm saying because you want to be perfect. Really, it's about taking care of yourself and knowing what's best for you. So if you are standing, I'd ask you to make sure your feet are hips width distance apart, and usually your 2 fists together is a good marker for your feet being hips width distance apart. And we like the feet to be that distance so that our bones are supporting us, our weight, and not the muscles. And maybe your body's a little different. Maybe your feet have to be closer together, further apart. So again, checking in with you. This is about you and you being comfortable. So what's best for you? And once you're in that position, I'm going to stay seated here for the camera. So becoming present with what's happening at this moment in time. And you don't have to look at the camera, the video, just listen to my voice. And let's check in with the body and see what's going on with temperature. Are certain places warmer in the body? Are certain places cooler? My hands generally tend to be cold, and they are right now. What's going on for you? Are there neutral areas? Can we notice that? We tend to focus on maybe the extremes and not the neutral. So seeing if we can notice the warm areas, the cool areas, and the neutral areas. Letting go of temperature. Now sensing into the pressures in the body. Maybe there's a heaviness in certain areas of the body, or maybe there's a lightness in others. Maybe there's a constriction. Maybe the shoulders feel that constriction, or maybe there's an expansiveness, an opening, and you can feel that in the chest. What's going on in the body pressure-wise right now? Airiness, lightness, heaviness. What are those neutral feelings? And letting go of pressure. And now sensing into movement in the body. I know I sit on a little pillow to help my back, so there's constantly some little movements going on in my body. What movements are going on in your body? Maybe your body's changing position like mine is, or maybe you have tingling or prickling or throbbing, depending what's happening with the body today. Or maybe the movement you can feel is the lungs expanding and contracting as you're breathing in oxygen. Or maybe you had lunch and you're digesting. You can feel that digestion happening in the body. Or maybe the heart beating. What movement is happening in the body for you right now? And now maybe opening it up to all the sensations in the body, temperature, pressure, and movement. And see which one's most prominent in the body, moment by moment. Maybe saying that to yourself, whatever it may be. And letting go of the body sensations, and now checking in with the heart center. What mood are you experiencing right now? What emotion? How are you feeling? And if you couldn't label that with a word, what would it be? Not necessarily getting caught up in a story associated with the mood. Maybe you're tired, and just go with tired. Don't necessarily get dragged off in thought around why you're tired, why you're feeling that way. And if at all during the practice we do get pulled away from what's happening, understanding that's normal, natural state. Noticing where we've been pulled off and coming back to center. Okay, now moving into the centering practice. Taking the body and noticing the body from head to toe, from floor to sky. The Strozzi Institute calls this dimension, the length dimension, your dignity, your own inherent worth, being alive, being a human on this planet. With length, it's easy to see how we can step out of our dignity, like collapsing in the chest, can maybe be perceived as being sad, withdrawn, maybe not proud, or overreaching in length, being up on your tiptoes or arching upward. Overreaching in length could be perceived as ungrounded or maybe arrogant, full of oneself in some way. So practice being connected to the ground and your natural height. Clenching your feet on the ground or the floor, and your body in all of its length and dignity up to your head. Being erect in your dignity. Now changing the centering practice to width, side to side. Maybe moving left to right a little and finding the center point of balance. Noticing where your skin meets the world. Width is the dimension of community, connection, boundaries. Training to have a balanced width in the body will help you have balance in how you reach out to others. Not shrinking away from connection with maybe a narrow stance or holding yourself small in some way. We're not pushing into connection, being too close. Balancing in width, balance in connection. Feel yourself and being present with others at this time. Now letting go of width and transitioning to depth. The space your body is taking up, front to back, back to front. And focusing on the back side of the body. Think of your history and your past at your back. Good and bad, that has built your strength, your fans and supporters. Hard times as well. You've moved through those and you're now in this present moment. Your backside is your competencies, the capabilities that you have built over time. Feel your back and settle into the weight of your back. Neither being caught in the past or leaning away from your life with weight in your heels. In the present moment, being aware of everything that has been built inside of you. Now transitioning from the back to the front of you. The front is who and what you are becoming, what you're creating in the world, what we move towards. Any living organism is in a state of becoming. Allow yourself to feel who and what you're becoming. What it is that you hold dear and what's important to you. The future that you wish to create. So I'm going to ask you now, if you had your eyes closed, to open them, have a soft gaze. Sometimes it's easier for us if we close our eyes. It helps us focus inward. And it's easier sometimes to do the mindfulness exercises with your eyes closed because you're getting rid of certain distractions. But when we're out in the world, our eyes are open. We have lots of things that we're seeing that's coming at us. So we want to try the next practice with the eyes open to help us bring mindfulness and the centering practice more into our daily lives. And if this is the first time you're doing something like this, again, being kind and gentle with yourself, maybe noticing the self-talk. Maybe you don't even want to do this exercise because I said to open your eyes. So just be aware and notice those things, and if possible, try not to judge yourself. So now we're going to move the awareness to the center of the body, maybe placing the hands at the center of the body, which they say is a little bit below the navel. Having the hands on the center, and being balanced in all dimensions. We had mentioned and gone through earlier the length, centered in your length from head to toe, from ground to sky. In your width, from side to side, left to right, right to left, the dimension of connection. And centering in your depth, front to back, back to front, your past and your future. And call to mind what you care about. Let that fill you. Embody what you care most about and want to bring forth into the world. And when you feel an impulse, which may be below the chin or the neck, to walk, then begin walking and let the hands drop down to the side. Walking towards your next interaction. Walking towards what life holds for you today. See if you can embody dignity Let it fill your length. Embodying connection, expanding and filling out your width as you're moving. And pick a pace that's good for you, maybe on the slower side. Embody your strengths and your competencies that you have built over time. Embody your vision, what you want for your life, and what you care about. Letting it fill your whole being as you're moving through space. And if you get thrown off center, coming back to the practice, you may have to stop walking to come back to center, and that's okay. And if you do stop, once you become centered again and start to move, but only if and when you feel compelled to move. Not moving because you feel that you should be doing that because I'm saying that and you want to perfect this practice. And checking in with you, making sure you're ready to take that movement, and allowing the body to direct you versus the mind. And if you want, asking you to stop moving, checking in with the body, noticing the sensations in the body, temperature, pressure, and movement. Maybe now that we're further along in the practice, that's changed since when we first started. Sensing into the body and noticing that. And maybe it hasn't changed, and that's okay, not making a judgment either way. So that's the practice for today. And you can continue practicing that. You don't have to have this time set aside. See, when you're walking, maybe to and from the house, to and from work, your car. Seeing if maybe you can get into that zone and be aware of your body and the centering practice as you're moving in length, width, and depth and what you care about. Okay, thank you all for attending. Hope you have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.